So if you look at another thing we see here is that broadcast, when I send a broadcast message, it will send it from my switch. It will send it to this. So for my PC, broadcast message, assuming I ping the broadcast address, it will send it to this guy. It will send it to this guy because these are all connected on the switches. It will send it to switches. What happens with switches is that when they receive a broadcast message, switches by default, every port on the switch are in the same broadcast. It means that when a message is sent, which is a broadcast message, it will be sent via all the ports that are on the switch. And so when this switch receives it, it sends it to all its ports. If they are connected, they will also be able to send it somewhere. So this switch will send it to this switch because it's broadcasting it. Because this is a switch, when it receives a broadcast message, the only thing it will do with the broadcast message is that it will also propagate it via all the other points, apart from the one that sent it. So it will not send it back here. It will just send it to all the other ones. So technically, we'll be sending it to all these ones. But one thing about a router is that a router does not propagate broadcast message. So when it gets to the interface of the router, it will block it. It will not be able to pass through it. So basically, a switch has one broadcast domain, meaning that when you send a broadcast message, one broadcast message, it will be sent to all the ports on the switch, meaning all the ports on the switch are by default connected to the same broadcast. But for a router, every port on a router belongs to a different broadcast because this port is connected to a different network. This port on the router is connected to a different network. So if this guy sends a message, a broadcast message, it will get to this point and that's it because the router doesn't allow it to pass through its interface. And so these people will also be in a different broadcast. These people will also be in a different broadcast. So normally we say that a switch has one broadcast domain because when you send a broadcast message, it goes to all of them at one point, at one time. But on a router, every port on a router has its own broadcast domain. That is why when these guys send it, it doesn't travel. When these guys send, it doesn't travel. This broadcast doesn't know about this broadcast because they are in different domains and different. So typically, the idea of broadcast domain is just saying a network. So if you think about it, every port on a switch are in the same network. But if you take a router, every port on a router are in a different network. So a port on a router is a different network. The same way a port on a router is in a different broadcast domain.